Sir, thank you for your patience.
She's going to be taking over. She would have been here tonight, but she's not feeling well. So I do want to thank you for the opportunity to work in Millburn. It's been a pleasure. And without further ado, I just want to talk about the 2025 financial highlights. So this is something that I put together that makes a little sense to me. I'm not sure if it makes sense to everyone, but I'll have Caitlin start off talking about some numbers and I'll interject some points as she goes along.
Thank you, Kathy. All right, so if everybody has their sheet, you can follow along as Kathy mentioned, but we like to show the June 30th, 2024 compared to the June 30th, 2025 fund balance and what that is all made up of.
So Caitlin, just one thing. This was emailed, I believe, earlier today to you.
So it's just a 3-page document, so Kathy and I are going to bounce back and forth between it.
And can you just also, before you go into it, just speak about the fact that the audit itself will be adopted on the next board meeting, where the audit summary will be and all that good stuff for the public.
So we always hit roadblocks with the audits every single year. And you've probably heard it many times before. We wait for the state to issue on behalf pension payments in concert with the Division of Pensions. Again, it's very belaboring. It comes out late. We got through that. We got the other post-retirement benefits from them as well. And we thought, okay, now we're on a roll. We can keep moving. But there was a federal government shutdown, and they did not issue the updated compliance supplement for the federal single audit. So we're unable to do that. And so as a firm, and we are in a group with a bunch of other firms that do school audits, we decided we were going to issue our audits on time by December 5th, the state deadline, and that we would remove the federal audit piece. And so that's what we've done. And at first the state didn't like that idea because it was more work for them because they're going to have to look at a second audit. And we're like, well, you can't have it both ways. So we're excited to get the audits out. And so because we weren't certain that we could deliver it by tonight, Peter will put it on the agenda. You have 45 days after we present it and you see the audit to accept it. So at the next meeting, you can say, we've read through, we understand the recommendations. I think that's what the resolution says, and you can accept it. What will happen is when they do release the federal OMB supplement, they said it will be sometime between January and March of 26. We're going to have to issue a federal single audit. So we will do that at our earliest, as soon as that comes out. So without further ado.
Okay, back to the numbers. All right, so as I was mentioning, so page 1 has a very nice chart that will show how we ended for June 30th, 2025, and what we have all the way to the side is the increase-decrease column. So as you can see, we increased 1.7 million, and then all that 1.7 is broken up into categories. Kathy and I like to just go over the main categories. So for instance, the first one, encumbrances, you can see that that decreased by about $1 million. And just to reiterate, encumbrances are purchases that were made at year end, but the goods or services were not received yet, so therefore they were not paid yet. We also saw a huge increase in capital reserve of 1.8 million, an increase in maintenance of 500,000, which we'll talk about on the second page when we dive a little deeper into the reserves. And then also current year excess surplus increased about 520,000, which we will talk about a little bit further on the bottom of this page. But in total, that 1.7 million increase towards the middle of the page is broken down further so you can see what that was made up of. So for instance, there was an excess in local revenue of 1.9 million, an excess in state revenue of 1.6. And then we also want to highlight the unexpended budget appropriations of 2.4 million. Kathy, anything you want to add there?
And then is the amount of surplus that you use each year. Those open purchase orders roll to the next year. And so last year's purchase orders were $1.8 million. So the overall, there was that $1,768,000 increase. I just wanted to point out that when we say the unexpended budget appropriations for the year, if you go to the far right column, 2.4 million, you did have encumbrances of 800,000 so that once they roll, those monies are expended in the subsequent year. So really you had 1.6 million that you didn't spend. It's like 1.5%. So budget is pretty tight, and just wanted to bring that to your attention. So then at the bottom of this first page, we talk about the amount of surplus that's being used. The idea is to keep it pretty stable. And so in 24-25, it was $2.6 million that you used to offset the budget. In 25-26, 2.5. And then in 26-27, in the auditor's management report, which is the small version, it talks about how we calculate what the excess is. And so you're allowed to have 2%, and then generally speaking, the excess in your state revenue is the extraordinary aid and the non-public transportation that you didn't get until the end of the year. So you can add that to your 2%, and that's what leaves you at $3.8 million as unreserved, undesignated. So in conversation, the June resolution was to move 1.5 to capital reserve, and I believe $500,000 to maintenance reserve. And so that left you with 2.8 million. So what that does is that's a little higher than you've had in the past. And we've had the conversation with Peter to discuss that. He already knows, he said he'll use it for non-recurring costs like capital or something like that, so that you're back at that $2.5 million to keep it rather level.
I think we're good to go on to the second page. So Kathy already briefly talked about the reserves. So as you can see, there were no budgeted withdrawals or withdrawals by board resolution during the fiscal year 25, but we were able to deposit money at year end. So as Kathy mentioned, 1.5 million went back into capital reserve and 500,000 went back into maintenance reserve. So this was very beneficial because you can also see that the very beginning of fiscal year 26, there were already budgeted withdrawals coming out of capital reserve and maintenance reserve. So it's good to keep that balance consistent, which is why we put that money back in.
Another one of my favorite comments is you're limited to a 2% increase with some exceptions in the rising costs. And so anytime that you're able to achieve savings and put that into reserves for capital and maintenance, goes without saying that on any given day you may be alerted to something that needs to be done on the capital end or the maintenance end. So it's always good to increase that. So if you're keeping your increasing expenditures within that 2%, I think it really makes sense to put that aside, because it's really hard to do capital and maintenance within a 2% spending increase.
All right, moving on to Capital Projects Fund. The district has a few open projects. We have the Energy Savings Improvement Project, which is also known as the ESIP. The 2020 referendum project, there's just a little bit left to go to finish out that project. 2023 referendum project is well underway, and then the district entered into 3 new projects: the Millburn High School boiler and hot water heaters, Wyoming HVAC, and Washington HVAC, and all 3 of those projects secured SDA funding. Okay, keep going. Food service. There's 2 enterprise funds, food service and field rentals. So we typically don't spend too much time discussing this. I just want to highlight the unrestricted balance at year end. So I'm looking at the middle column. So 2025's unrestricted ended at $508,000, which you can see was an increase of $37,000. And then field rental ended with $190,000, which you can see is also an increase. That one was about $22,000. All right, and then the last piece of financials we'll go over are the long-term liabilities that the district has. The main one is your serial bonds payable. This is made up of, I believe there's 4 separate installments. Most of them relate to the referendums, and I think the payments go out until fiscal year 42 on those. The district also has unamortized bond issuance premiums. This relates to the 2015 refunding of debt, and that will be amortized over the 13-year life on that bond. The ESIP, again, that's considered the finance purchase payable, so you can see there's just routine pay downs on that. The district also has compensated absences payable, which is the cumulative unused sick and vacation balance of all employees. And they also have the net PERS pension liability, which is the state actuarial number, which fluctuates every year. So as you can see, that had a bit of a decrease this year.
So again, that's information that is given to us statewide. There are some some procedures we have to apply to it, but we have no control over them. And so I always explain the net PERS pension liability is over the life of the people who are currently in the PERS system. They take interest rates and they take the ages of all the individuals and how many years they would be collecting pension, and that's where that number comes from. And then I just want to remind the board that not only is this an audit of the financial statements, but we also have compliance procedures that we're required to perform every year for NJDOE compliance with regulations. Again, single audit, there's state awards and federal awards when they exceed $750,000 that you spent. That's going up to $1 million soon, like within the next year. And again, this includes our opinion on the state single audit and not on the federal until they release the compliance supplement. We had one recommendation. We're required to check the surety bond coverage, and it was kind of right there and maybe insufficient for 26. So we talked to Peter about it, and it's already been increased, so we didn't see that as an issue. And it used to be a required coverage, but they changed it to recommended. So not that it's a problem, but it's always been one of the compliance procedures that the state has asked us to look at. And then each March, the e-cert is filed for all highly paid individuals, and it reports their salary and their benefits, and we just couldn't find it on file. We've never not had it, and so I just wanted to leave that open, that just somehow got lost in transition. But we have somebody in our tax department that reviews them and says, you know, we've never had an issue. Sure, it is all good. And we even attempted to contact the state to try and retrieve a copy of it, but it's like going to an abyss. So we did everything we could, and it is what it is. And then, Caitlin, you want to talk about the
So in all of our audits that we're issuing for all of our clients within the firm, we're including 2 management suggestions. Because on the horizon, GASB 103 and 104 will need to be implemented for fiscal year 26. So most of this will be a language change, and it won't be that difficult, and I will be there to help implement that.
We always research the GASBs ahead of time. We know what's expected. We have all our clients attend a meeting in June. It's usually close to June 30th, and we discuss all the things that are coming, and we put together as many guides and tools to help them do that. So with that, that's our report for the year. So surplus was up. You were able to increase your reserves, and you know, we can never foresee, this is as of June of last year, so we don't know what your budget difficulties might be. You know, we're not on that end of things, but you've done a really good job here in Millburn, and I hope that it's not troublesome. You know, I've been hearing about state health costs. So, anyway,
Thank you. Any questions for our audit team? Yeah, just one question for me, not particularly with the audit. I just want to have you reiterate the amount of debt we've have outstanding. There was a discussion at our Fields meeting the other night of our debt level for the town and the school combined compared to some other towns. So I thought this may be irrelevant, how much we have, and I don't know if you know the history, Peter, you probably do, of like kind of how we got here, just to refresh the public.
Use the mic. You need the mic. She's just finding the page, and then I'll pass it to her.
as we were talking about the bond issue premiums. So there's 2 bond issues outstanding, and there's also a table in here. It's J13, where we talk about what the debt has been over the last 10 years, and what your debt capacity is, and where you are in terms of debt, and what your if you're over, under, and your debt limit. So you have $4 million of bonds outstanding on the refunding bonds that were issued in 2015. And then the school bonds that you issued in 2016, there's $20,143,000. My mistake, there are 4 issues here. School bonds in 2020 was, you have a balance of $14,200,000, and school bonds just issued in December of 23, the balance on them is $12,075,000. And then I'll go to the page that talks about your debt limit. Thank you, Caitlin.
Oh, yes, just to clarify on that, there was 4 issuances. The last 2 we're more familiar with. We had a bond referendum in 2020. That was $20 million, of
Yep.
which 14 was left. 23, we had $13 million, of which, what,
12
10 and a
million
half was left, or 12?
Right. 12,075.
So there was essentially $71 million of debt issued. We have $50.5 million left as of
Correct.
June 30, 25.
Correct.
So essentially $50 million is what I want the public to hear, is how much
Yes,
debt the school
that's your
system has.
outstanding debt. And then in the J schedules, it says your debt limit is 4%, which is $475 million, so you're way below that. So it's a low debt percentage, but it is $50 million in outstanding bonds.
Thank you for going through that. You have a question now, Mr.
Well,
Bigman.
actually, I was just looking at the report, and I want to congratulate you on your retirement also.
Thank you.
So, and thank you for the years of service.
Yes, I was
But
gonna say
in the report, there's a statement, and I know you probably touched upon this, but maybe to expand on it, where it says represents 625 excess surplus that must be appropriated in the 26-27 budget. However, this is approximately $300,000 above the amount appropriated in the prior year. As the district continues to spend 98% of its annual budget, the district should place less reliance on budgeted surplus and anticipated extraordinary aid revenue. So can you just clarify and comment on that
So
specifically?
Yep. Absolutely. So when we did the excess surplus calculation, which gets you to 2% plus the allowable adjustments, you had 2.8 left over. And you've been using 2.4, 2.5, so that was at the bottom of the first page, and said that's up slightly. So spoke to Peter and said, I'm just on the outside looking in, saying, it's always good to keep that level or reduce it. And he said, no problem, we'll use it for non-recurring expenses. And then it just concerned me. Now, you could have had an anomaly or a difficult year, but you are spending 98.5% of your budget. So I said the unexpended balances, once those purchase orders that roll forward are there, it was a sizable number, but it was still 1.5% that was unexpended.
Great. Thank you again.
You're very, very welcome.
All right. Thank you. Thank
All
you
right.
again for all your service, Ms.
Yeah.
Mantell.
Oh.
Please enjoy your retirement.
Thank you. I'll be in the background supporting them with, institutional knowledge. But anyway, thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure.
Very good. Have a good evening. Dr. Diskin, are you introducing the second presentation?
Yes, I'd love to. Good evening, everyone. We are very pleased tonight to have Miss Jennifer Soa and Miss Catherine Alvarez to present an update on our guidance department. We have, through our reorganization and our structure, we have added a director of guidance, which is Ms. Alvarez, and Ms. Soa, which is now the Assistant Superintendent of Student Support and Special Services. So they have been working very diligently on updating the guidance department, I'll say, and they're here to present that tonight. So thank you.
So thank you for that introduction. Yes, Ms. Alvarez and I are going to go through a number of slides here that are going to give us an update on some of the enhancements that we have done and begun our work during this school year. So Catherine's going to start.
Okay, good evening, everyone. So tonight's presentation is grounded, as you will see, in our district goal. Our goal number 3, is it too loud or am I okay? Okay. Our district goal number 3, which is academic climate and culture. And as you can see, I've outlined how we are kind of structuring that in our department, which is building capacity, standardizing workflows, and strengthening SEL alignment. The work we're doing in scheduling, pathways, and counseling support, it's not just operational, it really shapes the whole department and how the students are experiencing their day-to-day activities in school. As you will see in building capacity, we have a professional development opportunity for our new counselors called our Academy for New Counselors. And we meet every month, and we share in conversation, and we grow professionally through data-driven practices. Additionally, we are building capacity through staff training, through evidence-based approaches that are supporting students' social and emotional needs. And in standardizing workflows, something that we're really proud of is just improving and kind of strengthening our conferencing process so that we are developing more standardized workflows for our counseling in our high school. We are doing it all together at the same capacity for all of our students so that each counselor is kind of acting in the same capacity with meetings and communication all along the same wavelength and alignment. We're also consistent with our structures for student support workflows, and we're sharing expectations across elementary, middle, and high school. And then with our strengthening SEL alignment, this work is really happening at the elementary level. We have monthly SEL themes aligned across all our elementary schools, and our elementary counselors are really focusing through their SEL lessons and strengthening those SEL lessons by sending out newsletters to their teachers so that these SEL lessons can be reinforced in the classroom after they are completing their SEL lessons. And teachers can have different strategies on how to kind of continue to implement those SEL strategies that the counselor has already provided in the classroom. This work is coherent through our pre-K through 5th grade SEL messaging and skill building. So on this slide, you'll see how our department goal aligns directly with our district's broader goal on academic climate and culture, and this alignment ensures that our work is not operating in isolation, but contributing intentionally to the district's vision. Following this, I will share evidence on how the alignment is already taking shape in practice. And you can see that in the last part, where it says middle school data analysis, middle to high school progression review, counseling framework, WIN rollout, SEL monthly alignment. Then it's middle school to high school placement alignment, pre-K through 12, MTSS systems, and data teams, which Ms. Soa will talk a little bit more about. I do want to just kind of explain this a little bit as well. Our department goal, as I mentioned before, is that climate and culture aspect, and our counseling department is really, oh sure, SEL is social and emotional learning. I apologize. And that is where our work is grounded in school counseling, so my apologies. So department goal, as I mentioned before, is aligned to our district goal, and here's the evidence providing that support. So in department goal, we are creating clear pathways and informed scheduling for our students. The social emotional learning that's occurring in the classrooms is also kind of integrated into that continuity piece into the classroom. And then our MTSS tiered supports and transparent pathways, it's providing equitable opportunity for all students, and that is happening across the middle school and high school, as well as we start building capacity in the high school and kind of providing them the support on understanding those tiered interventions. So the foundation of our work is grounded in ASCA national model. For those of you who don't know, ASCA is an American School Counseling Association. I love to speak about the ASCA national model because many people believe that school counselors are driven by just social emotional learning, but ASCA really ties to the academic support of students as well. So ASCA, like I said before, is not only social and emotional, but it also ties to academic support and success. Our vision is rooted in balance and preventative and responsive work that nurtures both the academic and social emotional needs of all students. So we build on those partnerships with families. We're strengthening our communication and kind of continuing that communication through conferencing, conversations, and having these parent presentations and programming to improve and strengthen those supports. So our vision and mission. Our vision in Millburn Counseling Department carries with it strong belief in collaboration, communication, and connection with families, students, and teachers. Our vision is to provide an academic home approach model to the students' developing pathway for successful outcomes. Our vision is a deep belief in collaboration and communication, like I mentioned. And Ms. Soa is going to talk a little bit more about the developmental pathways.
So with the expansion of our counseling department by adding additional counselors at the elementary level and the director of student personnel services and guidance, we are working to implement a K-12 developmental counseling framework. You may wonder what a K-12 developmental framework is. It is a developmental pathway for counseling that is comprehensive and a systematic approach designed to address students' needs in 3 core interconnected domains. This includes academic, career, and social emotional development. The program is structured to anticipate and meet age-appropriate needs at each educational level, shifting the focus on prevention through classroom activities in the earlier grades, in the elementaries, building foundational skills in self-awareness, social interaction, and basic problem solving. And as time goes on, they move to more individualized planning later in later years, including intensive academic planning and post-college career readiness that we see in our high school. Our goal is to provide parents and students with the guidance to access the information along this developmental K-12 pathway. While college placement remains a point of pride, student success is ultimately measured by their capacity to set meaningful goals, make informed decisions and choices, and confidently pursue post-secondary pathways that best align with who they are and what they want to become. We expect our students to change as they go along the developmental pathway and adjust and reset. For example, a kindergartner may want to be a doctor until they take their first dissection biology class, and they may decide that they no longer want to be a doctor, but that's okay. We have added some professional development and student support partnerships to help strengthen our student supports. A comprehensive counseling program includes both responsive services as well as preventative programming. These are intervention and support systems to address the immediate needs and concerns of individual students. To enhance our staff's professional capacity to handle students and struggles that they may have, we have implemented professional development for staff and partnerships in the areas of mental health, tiered systems of supports, we're going to talk about that a little bit more in a slide coming up, and external community counseling supports. 4 of these such programs are listed on this slide, but on the next slide I'm going to go a little bit more in detail to those. So the Thrive Mental Health Coaching Program is a program that we started this year where we have an outside consultant working with school administrators and selected staff in all 8 buildings, where they engage in monthly training videos and coaching sessions with mental health professionals on key mental health and behavior topics. What's important is these topics were not selected by the outside agency, but by the participants in our cohort doing this. The topics include, just a sample of them, mental health integration, the integration of clinical and school services together, school refusal, responding to behavioral issues, and trauma-informed care are just some of the topics that were chosen that are being worked on this year. We also have HAYS, Health and Wellness Consultation. Twice a month, staff have the ability to a drop-in session with a specialist who specializes in students who are experiencing school refusal, attendance issues, and anxiety that is impacting their performance in the classrooms. We have continued our partnership with New Jersey for Essex, which is a state-run, county-delivered preventative partnership program where students and families in grades 6 through 12 can be referred for free mental health services that are provided through an outside agency. And district-wide, K through 12, we have access to some of their wellness and preventative professional programming for staff and students. And then the fourth program we're going to talk a little bit more about is our continued enhancement of district practices with the New Jersey tiered system of support, providing supports for students who may be struggling in the areas of social emotional learning and or academic. And we are providing building-based team coaching as well as screening to ensure equitable identification and the needs of both academic and social emotional learning for our students. Both Catherine and I have mentioned MTSS or NJTSS a couple times already in our slideshow. This is a graphic that kind of outlines what a multi-tiered system of supports is. It's a framework that provides tiered, evidence-based academic, behavioral, and social emotional supports to meet the needs of all students. It uses universal screeners to identify students who may need more help, and as the pyramid goes along, the services get more intense and the interventions are. So Tier 1 is considered universal. It happens in the general education classroom. Tier 2 is for students who need a little more support, and it might be supplemental, small groups, targeted interventions. And Tier 3 is an intensified support. And the reason why they use a pyramid is all students benefit from the larger bottom. Then you have some students in the middle tier, and then fewer students in the upper tier. We've enhanced some supports for our students, specifically in Tier 2 and Tier 3 intervention, the Tier 2 and Tier 3 intervention parts of the pyramid that I just mentioned. So the district has added some additional tools, professional development and practice to help within these tiers. The first thing I want to talk about is Lincoln Intervention Manager. Lincoln Intervention Manager is an online platform that helps schools manage and enhance their intervention processes for students who need extra support. It's part of this NJ or MTSS program. It helps facilitate collaboration, goal setting, and monitoring for students who are receiving these interventions. Staff is currently being trained at different levels on the rollout of this program. WIN periods were added to all elementary levels. What is a WIN period? WIN stands for what I need, W-I-N. And it is a set block of intervention that occurs in all the elementary buildings, in every homework, during a certain period of time. And what it does, it gives the classroom teachers an opportunity to provide an intervention, practice, or even enrichment time for the students. It's really supposed to be individualized and geared towards what that student needs during that time period. Sometimes students could be pulled out for IEP services or things like that. It's what I need. We continue to enhance and provide team training on IEPs and 504 plans, and when these plans should be implemented for students who need additional supports. In general, an IEP, individual education plan, provides specialized instruction. This is special education for students who qualify in one of the 13 categories as outlined in the IDEA law. A Section 504 plan ensures equal access to education under a federal law, providing accommodations that students might need to participate in a gen ed program. It's about access to the gen ed program. Students can be on these type of plans and also receiving tiered interventions through the tiered system of supports. And then the last is our nurses work with some of our students who have higher medical needs, and these students can receive their support services through something called an IHP, which is an individual health plan. These are support plans that address a student's medical needs and are developed and overseen by our individual school nurses in collaboration with the child's healthcare provider, the medical doctors, and it usually outlines a care and safety procedures for medical type conditions such as diabetes, seizure disorders, or a student who might need a feeding tube or something like that.
Okay. So in addition to our professional growth occurring with our new school counselors through that new school counselor academy, we are also participating in weekly and biweekly meetings where our counselors are practicing in lunch and learns. Yes, it's during lunchtime. They join me in a Google Meet, and we build capacity in sessions talking about Google conferencing, Google appointment links. We share out presentations and process for presentations, how to improve our delivery, strengthen communication with our constituents, and also sharing best practices. The new counselors also participate in these weekly lunch and learns, and while they may be new counselors to the district, they also have a lot of experience that they can contribute to these conversations. In addition to that, we have case conferencing occurring at the high school called Strategizing Student Success. These are very well-attended meetings where a lot of different participants and a lot of different staff members participate in our meetings, and they share in progress about the student. We discuss different students, we focus on student progress, and we support in planning, ensuring that there's a comprehensive and coordinated approach to that student's success. So as I mentioned before, there's a lot of different key points to our department that we are kind of continuing over the course of time, and that involves K through 12 counseling. So we are trying to align it all to the board goal, which is developing that academic support for our students through climate and culture. And as you will see here, Ms. Soa mentioned before our MTSS Universal SEL and tiered supports. While that work is happening at their elementary and middle school, we are building capacity at the high school, and we are kind of developing that work at the high school, and hopefully we'll be launching that next year at the high school level. The program development at pre-K through 12 is very exciting for me to share because we are currently beginning the work of our freshman focus groups, our junior college prep groups, and we are working with Naviance now from 9th grade all the way through 12th grade, which is really exciting for me, and I believe it's something that the parents are really well received. It's well received among our parent community. Our multi-level meetings are with our elementary, middle, and high school. We meet, I guess it's every quarter for our PD day, and we share out different things that we're learning. This next PD day, we're excited to learn about art therapy from one of our elementary counselors, and we will also be sharing any updates about our college visits. Our vertical alignment across Millburn School Counseling Department is really tied to those multi-level meetings, and that's where we learn from one another. And then finally, our review and analysis of perception and process data. So in the beginning of this year, we discussed process data and how we are receiving our students, how school counselors are their delivery of instruction is really focused on data-driven instruction. So to get that data, to obtain that data, we need to understand who we're meeting. And part of that review and analysis of perception and process data is looking at that data after 3, maybe 4 months and seeing if there are trends of our students coming into the guidance department, and if we see trends of common indicators such as peer-to-peer related issues, maybe it's academic concerns, transcript requests, things like that. So we're going to be reviewing that data as well. So these are some highlights happening at the elementary school, and I also want to go through highlights at the middle school and the high school, so I'll be going through them in order. These are our universal SEL and tiered supports happening at our elementary school. As Ms. Soa mentioned before, we have social emotional lessons happening every month across each of the schools, and our counselors are delivering a theme every month. This month is gratitude, and in honor of our Thanksgiving. And I've already observed several lessons, and they've been very, very beautifully delivered from our school counselors, and the children are really receiving them well, and they also are reinforced by the teachers in the classroom. Our counselors are also introducing that Tier 2 intervention by providing that targeted support to the student needing that additional assistance, and they are taking notes and tracking those students to recommend them for that lunch bunch that will be occurring in Q2. And that is also considered a Tier 2 intervention in school counseling. And then I do want to emphasize our school counselor's role is very proactive, preventative, and supportive for all students, and not just those in crisis. And that happens in the work happening in the tiered supports through MTSS. Additionally, there is a lot of collaboration and data collection. Our weekly counselor meetings have really strengthened the team cohesion. As you know, we have new counselors this year, and it's been really important and vital to meeting with them weekly to make sure that we are consistent with our practice and we are kind of working in a cohesive manner. And that involves a lot of communication with both the principals, vice principals, and counselors, and we've been practicing in all of that. We've also designed a digital debrief form, which was really something that was piloted at one of the schools, and I believe it's been very successful. It helps create a communication loop between the principal, the vice principal, and the school counselor to ensure that everyone is aligned with the communication happening at the end of the day. And finally, as I mentioned before, our data collection system was initiated in guidance offices K through 8 to track student needs, counseling services, and intervention outcomes, laying the foundation for what we hope to help us make decisions in the future, which are going to be data-informed decisions. Moving on to our middle school, some exciting events happening just next month in only a short period of time. We have our middle school course selection and high school counselors attending the middle school to provide micro-scheduling meetings with our middle schoolers. In just 1 week, we have 4 counselors attending the middle school to provide these micro-scheduling meetings to support our middle schoolers in the course planning process. Following that week, our parents are invited to come to the high school to participate in a parent information night on December 17th to understand the pathways, level placement, and elective options for their 8th graders. This is all for the incoming 8th graders. This is part of our enhanced communication and support for our students and families. Moving on to the high school. Our initiatives and department-led professional development have expanded our college and career readiness initiatives, and as I mentioned before, our dual enrollment with Seton Hall is a very exciting opportunity I'm really eager and so pleased about. We've also enhanced and kind of strengthened our college rep visit by kind of creating a digital platform for it. It's called the Digital Rep Visit Hub, and that includes rep visit notes that are accessible to all students via a QR code, website, and college rep visit hub. And then we also have department-led professional development, strengthening our internal capacity. And that involves AI in school counseling. Our counselors have shared out Turnkey in NACAC from the NACAC conference, Power School, Canva, and Google Workspace. And as I mentioned before, these are some of the updates and highlights: our college rep visit hub, our scheduling hub, and our advanced milestones. So with our college rep visit hub, as I mentioned before, we've launched the centralized automated system, which is digital. It's modernizing the process for allowing school counselors and students to officially view notes, schedule, and communicate with the college representatives through a note-taking process, and that is accessible to all the students. Our scheduling hub, it has implemented a digital scheduling platform for students and parents to book appointments directly with their school counselors. And this has improved accessibility, communication, and overall partnerships with our parents and our students. And then finally, something we're really excited and moving forward in the direction of is advancing those milestones and timelines. In 2026 and 2027, our scheduling timeline has definitely been adjusted. It's been strengthened, and we are certainly starting a lot sooner, helping our workflow and improving the quality of academic planning for our students. That's the overall goal of all this. The work we do is for our students. So, as I mentioned before, we're excited to expand with our Seton Hall dual enrollment program. I will be presenting at the high school next week on December 2nd. I will be sharing out an invite to all the parents to invite them to the dual enrollment. It's just an information session. I'm hoping that our dual enrollment liaison may join us. She may not, but I will be there, and I will have a lot of great information to share with all of you. We are excited to partner with our academic supervisors and directors who have really helped kick this off and helped just make this happen to its full potential. So this work has been a phased process, beginning with student interest, expanding through teacher interest, availability, and ultimately moving into this formal development into the program of studies. But it's all taken a lot of work and a lot of collaboration with our directors, supervisors, and it's going to be actually the work of our students as well, because our students will be sharing what their interests are. So as I close up, I just want to talk about our strategic priorities ahead. We are going to continue to align our counseling department and our counseling framework with the ASCA model, and as well as our MTSS framework. And MTSS is multi-tiered systems of support. And we are going to continue to maintain these strong relationships and communication for early intervention across all levels. School-wide, we're going to continue to use those professional development days to connect and analyze data trends and build school-level counseling programming. And finally, I'm just so excited about increasing parent partnerships through our conferencing approach and just continuing that work ahead. And I just want to thank everyone, and we have some exciting announcements. Our new school website, thanks to Terry Heck, has been updated, so please visit our new school counseling website. We also have these updated events, and if you need to sign up for the 8th grade parent event, if you are an 8th grade parent, you are here tonight, please feel free to scan the QR code. Thank you so much. I appreciate all your time. Have a nice night. I'll take questions. I'm so sorry. Any questions?
Ms. Shivani?
I guess not really a question specifically, but I think there was so much great information in there. I think especially in this day and age of social media and AI, where there is a lot of social anxiety, I think, the way you've put together, highlighted the 3 pillars of academic, curriculum, and social and emotional learning, and the focus on, yes, that the resources that you've brought in for social, emotional, mental health support, I think those are phenomenal. So thank you for all your efforts on that. Thanks.
Ms. Long-Richards?
I also just have a comment. Thank you very much. I know when I was running for the board and speaking with people around town, one of the things that was really missing was that elementary counseling piece. And so what we've brought and what you all have brought in to our elementary schools, the supports for our children, it's really great and it's amazing, and it's such a huge step forward, especially in these days of digital age, of kids knowing things sooner. It's just really, really important to have those supports, and there's just so very much there to help our kids. So thank you for all you're doing for our kids.
Thank you.
Ms. Speltz?
One more comment. I was very fortunate as a parent I have a 10th grader currently, and I have already been able to attend 2 counseling meetings that you've hosted at the high school, which was incredible and so helpful in framing what my daughter is going to have going forward. It was just amazing. I also thought it was great that all of the counselors presented at these different ones, so we kind of get to know all the counselors and get to see them and give them the opportunity to know us. I think it really goes back to your comment about strengthening the community and kind of pulling everybody together, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Absolutely, Dr. Diskin?
I would really like to just, thank you for this presentation. I thought the name of the presentation in and of itself hit the nose on the head, or head on the nose, but a nail on the head, whatever. Somebody up there with a nose and a nail in the head.
We don't have shop at no.
In any event, you know what I'm saying. We had a very strong counseling department, and now we've even strengthened it even more. So I appreciate that. And I think some of the takeaways is that we have a coherent K through 12 program in both SEL and in the guidance counseling pieces, the transitions from elementary to middle school to high school. I love the fact that, all of our work is aligned to the district goals, and that those, again, hit that. And I love the fact that you use the word continuum of collaboration, and the use of data to drive programming and decisions. I think all those are great. And at the end of the day, I want to thank the counselors, the administrative team, and the teachers for that continuum of collaboration and supporting our district goals. So kudos to you all.
Thank you. I agree with you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Soa. Ms. Alvarez? All right, moving on, President's Report. Just one thing for me. We had a joint meeting with the town on last Thursday, November 20th, regarding a proposal for the high school fields out here. It was great. It was well attended. Probably 40 plus people from the community attended. Unfortunately, we weren't able to record it and it wasn't live broadcasted, so the presentation put together was meant to stand alone. We put that presentation, it's on our website. It should be on the town website. So I would encourage everyone out there to go and look at it. Essentially, we want to create 2 multi-purpose fields and turf them. They overlap with the varsity baseball field, which would also be turfed. So we get 3 different fields there, and also install lighting around those fields and the existing turf fields out there to extend their usability. So a significant upgrade to our facilities, not only for the high school, but for the town, because it will significantly benefit both organizations. It is quite expensive. It was a ballpark $7 to $8 million project. The proposal is to split that cost between the Board of Education and the township. On the board side, as we've heard, we have some capital reserves we can use for that. So it will not impact our operating budget, which is very difficult for us to do. That's why the fields haven't been developed, because it can't come from our operating budget. In any case, the timeline is tight on this if we want to get moving, construct it over the summer into the fall, and use it for the next spring. The proposal is for the board and the town to take official votes in January. So we pushed out the presentation, allowing a month for public review and comments. I believe the town has a better mechanism of collecting comments. I think at the end of the presentation, there's a QR code. It goes to a Google form, and you could just log your questions there. You can, of course, email the Board of Education too. We'll be happy to answer those questions directly or forward to the town. But I just wanted to mention that. And it also, when the engineers presented the plan, it was choice A or B. Choice A was actually turfing the whole field, which was $16 or $17 million, so very expensive. Would love to do it, but we kind of decided on the not cheaper, but I guess the less expensive option of just doing those 3 fields. So please give that a look, and happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Please have a restful, safe, and happy holiday. That's all for me. Dr. Diskin?
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, tonight I begin with a little bit of sad news. We've learned that 2 former employees of their passings, and I'd like to speak about them and then give a moment of silence. 2 former employees, Lynn Belvedere, a student assistance counselor, retired in 2016 after 21 years in Millburn, and Jimmy Lepore, the high school security guard and former Millburn police officer who retired in 2014 after 19 years in the district. So for them, I would like to give them a moment of silence. Thank you. We'd also like to take a moment to congratulate and thank for their service. It's on the personnel agenda tonight. Mary Claire Tuma on her retirement after 32 years of service to Millburn students effective February 1st, and Michelle Schatz, the paraprofessional at Hartshorn School for 24 years on December 1st. So congratulations to them, and they will be approved on the personnel report tonight. I just wanted to take this as an opportunity to speak just briefly about mid-year retirements. Teachers, counselors, and other certified staff who are eligible to retire may do so at any point in the year. These decisions reflect each employee's individual circumstances, their life goals, and their professional considerations. When a retirement occurs mid-year, we do work very hard, as we do all the time, to ensure a seamless transition for students and families. We move quickly but thoughtfully to secure high-quality personnel, communicate clearly with the school community, and provide the incoming educator with the curriculum, resources, and support they need to maintain that continuity of instruction. Our priority is always to protect the consistency and quality of students' learning experiences while honoring the dedicated service of those who've concluded their careers in Millburn. On a note of strategic planning, It was so very well attended. Thank you to our board members, parents, community members, teachers, staff, and administrators for your time, your energy, your enthusiasm, and thoughtful participation in our recent strategic planning focus group. Your input is now being compiled into a comprehensive SWOT analysis that will guide the goals and priorities for Millburn's future. Our next step is the selection of the core planning teams. This will take place using the Wheel of Names platform to ensure fairness and transparency. This will be live streamed on December 2nd at 4 p.m. using the same link as our regular Board of Ed meetings. Individuals selected must be able to attend all 5 core planning team sessions, and they are January 15th, February 2nd, February 26th, March 16th, and April 9th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Millburn High School cafeteria. Now, that doesn't include snow days, but we'll hope for those to come. Volume 2 of the Strategic Planning newsletter is available in last week's Miller Mail. It will be included in my next update and is also posted on our strategic planning website for everyone. We held a fireside chat, and thank you to all the parents who joined me, Miss Leanne Martin and Miss Dina Leslie, Mr. Connolly, as well as Miss Soa for our recent fireside chat at the Bauer Center. It was productive and inspiring morning with thoughtful discussion about our math programs and our pathways. Parents shared meaningful feedback on what's working well and where we can continue to improve. Ms. Martin and Mrs. Leslie were especially praised for their communication, their willingness to listen, and their focus on each individual child. We're grateful for the open dialogue and shared commitment to supporting every student. We look forward to our next fire chat on December 2nd at 1 p.m., where Ms. Una Abrams and Ms. Melissa Bryan and Ms. Jennifer Doney will lead a discussion on how literary skills are developed during the elementary grades and the ELA pathways available to middle and high school students. Advanced registration is required. Walk-ins will not be accommodated, so please visit the district superintendent's website to register. And I had the opportunity on Friday night to see this incredible performance of Our Town. As you know, Our Town is a play that calls on us to slow down, to recognize the beauty in everyday moments, and to appreciate the people and experiences that truly matter. With Thanksgiving approaching, a time where many of us must pause to reflect on gratitude, that message was very felt and powerfully timed on Friday night. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I should say. Our students delivered that message with exceptional honesty and depth. Their connection on stage brought each moment to life, and their performances reflected a level of maturity and authenticity that was truly moving. The technical elements, including the sound, lighting, and set design, were executed with great care and contributed to the emotional impact of that entire production. I left the performance really feeling inspired and grateful, and I want to express how proud I am of our theater program and of the remarkable students who make it shine. Their hard work, their talent, and their dedication were evident in every scene. It was very memorable and a very special experience. South Mountain hosted their recent International Night, which is a long-standing and much-loved tradition that brings the school community together to celebrate culture and diversity. This event was tremendous success, filling the building with energy, color, and pride. Families created displays representing countries and cultures from around the world, offering students opportunities to explore food, traditions, and artifacts in an engaging, hands-on way. Students used passports to collect stamps at each table and turn the evening into an interactive global journey. A highlight of the night was the Parade of Nations, where students proudly wore cultural attire representing their heritage. This was followed by performances that showcased the talents of our students and the rich diversity of the South Mountain community. Principal Heather Fiore and Assistant Principal Kim Bastori joined in the celebration by wearing traditional attire themselves, underscoring the school's commitment to honoring and uplifting the cultures of their families. International Night continues to be a cherished tradition, one that alumni even return for, and it remains a powerful reminder of the unity and strength within our wonderful, diverse community. I am pleased also to share that our incoming principal, Rob Nixon, who will officially begin on December 9th, December 9th, yes, and spent the day at school on November 19th getting to know our students, staff, and the building. Acting Principal Kyle Arlington joined him as they visited classrooms, met teachers and students, and gained a strong sense of the daily rhythms of the school. It was a warm and positive visit. Teachers were genuinely excited to meet him, and he was enthusiastic about connecting with them. This was an excellent first step in ensuring a smooth transition, and we're very much looking forward to welcoming him officially to the Millburn community. In true fashion, Mr. Nixon was even quizzed on some trivia by Mark Friedrich, and I'm happy to report that Mr. Nixon had clearly done his homework and passed with flying colors. We're excited for him to begin his journey with us in Millburn and continue to build strong relationships with our school community. Thanksgiving Drive. In November, all Millburn schools once again came together for the annual district-wide Thanksgiving food drive. Thanks to the incredible community, volunteers packed over 100 boxes and bags for local families and for distribution through the interfaith food pantries of the Oranges, Family Promise, and Down the Block. We also contributed 1,529 Thanksgiving food items to the Junior League of the Oranges in Short Hills and donated 33 additional boxes of pantry staples to Mend, supporting 23 food pantries across Essex County. And on top of that, we raised more than $6,000, allowing us to provide gift cards to families both in our district and throughout our partner organizations. A heartfelt thank you to everyone who made this possible: Terry Heck, Mike Vienza, the Ed Center team, the Millburn Short Hills Fire Department, and all of our school leaders, and our PTO, Community Outreach Representatives. This was truly a community effort, and we are deeply grateful. And the note of gratefulness as we head into Thanksgiving, I want to simply wish you all a time to rest, reconnect, and enjoy the people who matter most. I'm grateful for our students, for our staff, and our families, for your hard work, your partnership, and the spirit you bring to this community every day. Thank you for all you do for our schools and for one another. Wishing you and your loved ones a very peaceful and happy Thanksgiving. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Diskin. Moving on to board committee reports. Program, Mr. Finkelstein.
Yes, thanks. We have a couple meetings since the last board meeting. The first was on Friday, November 14th at 2 p.m. Board members present were myself, Andrew Finkelstein, Ms. Lonely Richards, Ms. Shivani, and Ms. Speltz's sub. Staff present were Dr. Diskin, Mr. Connolly, Ms. Young, Ms. Martin, Ms. Graff, Ms. Abrams, Ms. Alvarez, and Ms. Soa. Mr. Connolly reviewed the updated forms, regulations, and procedures being proposed for the ISLO handbook. The committee provided feedback around formatting and procedures in order to streamline and presented a draft of the updated pathways and access for social studies AP classes and other offerings. The committee asked questions about the grade cutoffs and pushed for maximum access that would maintain student success. Ms. Soa and Ms. Alvarez then presented a draft of the guidance presentation we saw tonight. They outlined the various changes and developments happening in the department. Our next meeting was Friday, November 21st at 2:30 p.m. Board members present were myself, Ms. Lonely Richards, Ms. Shivani, and Ms. Bethena. Programs. Staffing and resources were also discussed. Ms. Abrams and Ms. Bryan then presented the updated pathways and potential new AP offerings for our high school ELA. The committee asked questions regarding the nature of the new offerings and made some suggestions for the presentation. Finally, Mr. Connolly finalized the discussion on reviewing the updates to Policy 5460, specifically the section on the Individualized Student Learning Opportunities, or ISLO. Mr. Connolly provided the committee with copies of adjustments and modifications to the policy, as well as a draft of the updated handbook for final review. And that concludes my comments. Thanks.
Any questions for program? Thank you, Mr. Finkelstein. Governance, Ms. Shivani.
Yes, the governance committee met on November 18th at 5 p.m. Board members present were Ms. Bethena and myself, unfortunately not very high attendance. Staff present were Dr. Diskin, Mr. Conley, and Mr. Kyle Arlington. As Mr. Finkelstein mentioned, we reviewed policy 5460, and it is being presented tonight for first reading. The policy is being updated in accordance with recommendations from Strauss-Esme. Procedural details previously included in the policy will be covered in the student handbook and in the ISLO, or the Individualized Student Learning Opportunities Guidelines and Procedures documents. This document will be updated to the school website in the next few days. Additionally, Mr. Arlington walked the committee through the personnel report that is being presented tonight for approval. The meeting concluded at 6 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Priya Shivani.
Any questions for governance?
Sorry, I apologize. Ms. Spells was there as well at the governance committee meeting, so that's my
Thank you,
mistake.
Ms. Speltz.
Thanks for reminding me. Clearly.
Finance facilities, Mr. Bigman?
The AC and boilers, $252,823.24. Recommend the following emergency purchase. Magic Touch Construction heating pipe replacement, $27,004.23. The meeting ended at 8 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Noel Bigman.
Thank you, Mr. Bigman. Any questions for finance?
This is more of a facilities question. On the heels of the fantastic play that we had at the middle school conducted by the high school, how is the auditorium upgrade project going? Is it going to be scheduled on for completion by spring for the musical?
Yes, it will be definitely ready by spring. We're hopeful for a opening in January of that.
Any other questions? I think we're adding in student liaison report. Ms. Longley Richards?
Okay, the Millburn Middle School Student Liaison Committee met for their first meeting of the year on Thursday, November 13th at 1:58 p.m., which is the students' Block 6. Board members present were Ms. Abby Speltz as a sub and myself, Ms. Cynthia Longley Richards. Staff present was Dr. Kate Diskin and Dr. Jill Sack. So The students were chosen by their counselor and are representative of each grade and team. This committee gives our middle school students a voice and connection to their administrators and the board. Dr. Sack led the discussion with 3 topics. How has school been for you so far? What do you like best about MMS? And what is one thing you would like to change? The students spoke about the transitions that they were experiencing in a new grade with new expectations, our 6th graders having a new building. They talked about the usual crowded hallways and the passing time not being enough, and talked about their teachers' help in making their transition easier. There will be 2 more meetings this year, January 22nd, 2026, and April 23rd, 2026. The meeting ended at 2:50 with the sound of the bell. Respectfully submitted, Cynthia Longley Richards.
Thank you. Assistant Superintendent report, Mr. Conley.
Good evening, everyone. Before I get started with my official report, I just want to point note to the board members at the dais today. You'll find a copy of the Curriculum Connection newsletter that goes out to all our faculty. That's a publication put out 5 times a year. It just really highlights a lot of the work that's taking place in and around the district that may not be seen or reported on through many of the board reports. And then the other, I just want to thank Ms. Alvarez and Ms. Soa on a great job on that presentation. Very informative, and I know a lot of hard work went into that and a lot of hard work ahead to execute on all of it. So great job. Just to update to policy number 5460, we've heard a couple times this evening. On this evening's agenda, it will be for the first read is policy 5460, high school graduation. After consulting with Strauss Esme, our district policy and regulation service, we have reviewed policy number 5460 and recommend adopting the updated and suggested language from Strauss Esme. The revisions affect 1 section related to individualized student learning opportunities, formerly known as Option 2, ISLO. This update aligns our policy with those of peer districts and shifts the detailed implementation procedures into the updated ISLO handbook. It is important to note that throughout the policy review, the handbook refinements, our district's current processes and procedures remain aligned with both district and state requirements. Washington School's 8th annual Code Day is on Friday, December 12th. Code Day immerses students in the innovation through a full day of creating, designing, coding, and building. With support from the Washington School PTO, students will visit the all-day STEAM Museum, work the Hummingbird robotics kits and the Q robots, and explore microbit with MakeCode. The high school robotics team will demonstrate their robots, and community members and other professionals will speak with classes about the real-world technology and innovations. The purpose of the day is to celebrate innovation, empower students to be creators, not just consumers. And then finally, I too want to wish everyone a happy and healthy Thanksgiving as we gather with friends and family this week. Enjoy the holidays and the upcoming holiday season. Thank you, and respectfully submitted, John Conley.
Thank you, Mr. Collin. Student representative report, Ms. DeTore.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Millburn High School continues to move through November in quarter 2 with a variety of academic updates, student activities, and community events. NJSLA ELA testing was successfully conducted and took place on Wednesday, November 13th. The annual Thanksgiving food drive, co-hosted by MHS Key Club, helped donate and support several local organizations. College representative visits for juniors and seniors continue to offer valuable opportunities to connect with admissions officers. The Governor's School of Science and Engineering and Technology have opened applications for summer 2026. Interested juniors must submit the preliminary form by December 8th at 8 a.m. Also regarding the junior class, junior conference planning have begun for students to meet with their guidance counselors about the college application process. Congratulations to the MHS Limelight players on a successful run of our town. The production officially wrapped up this weekend, and the cast, crew, and directors are being recognized for their hard work, professionalism, and outstanding performances. Thank you to everyone who supported the show and helped make the fall drama a success. Regarding athletics, a special congratulations goes out to Coach Dilworth, who was named Essex County Coach of the Year for girls cross country, an honor recognizing excellence and commitment. For winter sports, tryouts are now underway, with each team beginning practices on its scheduled start date. Thank you and have a happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you. Moving on to public comments. Please state your name and address for the record. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Responses to questions and comments will be posted to the district website before the next scheduled board meeting or within 10 school days. Do we have any comments this evening?
Check, check.
Thank you. I didn't have to break it. All right, so Danielle Green, MEA President. I just wanted to come up and as we head into the Thanksgiving holiday, I want to take a moment to wish each and every one of you and your families a peaceful, restful, and joyful break. This has been a very busy time of year, sometimes challenging, but I'm incredibly thankful for all the dedication, professionalism, and heart that our members bring to work every single day. Our staff continue to show up for students, for one another, and for our community in countless ways. I also want to express appreciation to our administration for their continued willingness to sit at the table, listen to our concerns, and work together to solve problems. We don't always agree on everything, but that's okay. But the shared commitment to finding solutions and supporting our staff and students is what truly matters. I'd also like to acknowledge the Board of Ed members for the time you dedicate to the district. We recognize the role you play in navigating decisions isn't always easy, especially when it impacts staff, students, and family. Your efforts are noted as we continue moving forward together. On behalf of our union, thank you for all you do. To our staff and everybody, wishing you a happy and healthy Thanksgiving. Please take some time to recharge. We've all earned it.
Thank you, Ms. Green. Is that a new shirt? Do we have an official retirement for the teal? Not me. Next president. Any other public comments? All right. Moving on to board action items. First, instruction agenda items. May I have a motion and a second to approve instruction items 1A through 1C? Ms. Shivani, Ms. Speltz. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Longley Richards,
Yes.
Ms. Speltz,
Yes.
Ms. Patina,
Yes.
Mr. Bigman,
Yes.
Ms. Shivani,
Yes.
Mr. Finkelstein,
Yes.
Mr. Heinrichs.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Item 2, personal agenda items. May I have a motion and a second to approve personal items 2A through 2B? Ms. Longley Richards? Ms. Shivani? Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Speltz,
Yes.
Ms. Patina,
Yes.
Mr. Bigman,
Yes.
Ms. Shivani,
Yes.
Mr. Finkelstein,
Yes.
Ms. Longley Richards,
Yes.
Mr. Heinrichs.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Item 3, business agenda items. May I have a motion and a second to approve business items 3A through 3I? Mr. Bigman, Ms. Speltz? Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Patina,
Yes.
Mr. Bigman,
Yes.
Ms. Shivani,
Yes.
Mr. Finkelstein,
Yes.
Ms. Longley Richards,
Yes.
Ms. Speltz,
Yes.
Mr. Heinrichs.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Item 4, special services. May I have a motion and a second to approve special services items 4A? Item 4A? A motion and a second, please. Mr. Finkelstein, Ms. Patina? Did you raise your hand, Ms. Patina? Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Bigman?
Yes.
Ms. Shivani?
Yes.
Mr. Finkelstein?
Yes.
Ms. Longley Richards?
Yes.
Ms. Speltz?
Yes.
Ms. Patina?
Yes.
Mr. Heinrichs?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. And number 5, policy. May I have a motion and a second to approve policy items 5A and 5B? Ms. Shivani, Ms. Long Richards? Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Shivani?
Yes.
Mr. Finkelstein?
Yes.
Ms. Longley Richards?
Yes.
Ms. Speltz?
Yes.
Ms. Patina?
Yes.
Mr. Bigman?
Yes.
Mr. Heinrichs?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Any old business from the board members? Any new business? Ms. Speltz?
Actually, I'm not sure if this is old or new business, but I wanted to take a quick comment on the middle school liaison meeting. We should be really proud of our kids. Those kids were so articulate and insightful and thoughtful. It was really impressive. And I think it speaks to, the families of the districts, the instructors, the teachers, the staff, who really have created these little people who really know what they're talking about. It's very impressive.
Thank you. Any other new business? Second round of public comments. Same rules apply. Any comments? All right, seeing none, move on. Any last board member comments? All right, may I have a motion and a second to adjourn? Mr. Bigman, Ms. Shivani, all in favor? All right, we are adjourned.